definitely fitting that somebody's revving a chainsaw outside, but it's pretty loud. Anyways, if I can get through it, we can get through it together. 3, 2, 1. How's it going, YouTube? My name is Jøin Rhyan, otherwise known as Sector 7. Welcome to my channel, Sector 7 Music. I am a composer and sound designer. Speaking of sound design, let's talk about Akira Yamaøka's incredible sound design for the Silent Hill series, specifically the Silent Hill 2 Remake. If you haven't played that, I suggest going to play that as soon as you can. I myself love playing this game right now. It is one of the greatest games of the year, if not the game of the year, next to Final Fantasy Rebirth. But I digress. The sound design is superior. The sound design is incredible. It's amazing, and it's very, very fitting for the game. It's very spooky. Speaking of which, happy October, everybody. I hope everybody is having a spooky season, playing some spooky games, watching some spooky TV, some spooky movies, as well as listening to some of that spooky goodness music. So what I did for this video is I recorded some of my playthrough of those sounds that were very interesting to me, that really piqued my interest. As I'm going through the game, certain things stuck out to me, especially if you're playing on headphones. It is a whole nother level of fear. Definitely play with headphones on because you can get a really good sense of that sound design, especially if you yourself are a sound designer or a composer. You can actually get a really good sense of how things were created, or just a good guess of how things are created. To me, a lot of the sounds that Akira Yamaøka has made are very unique, and they're very creative. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, was the sound design, and just kind of go through them and celebrate how wonderful they are, especially how fitting they are within the Silent Hill universe. So if you like any of the sounds, or if you have any guesses as to how they were made, or anything at all, any tips or tricks, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe this channel so we can keep doing videos like this. All right, without further ado, let's get into it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. This clip is really funny because I have a lot of fun with these games, to the point where I may or may not have broken the game. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on. But this was a big glitch. It was a big bug. And I couldn't help but laugh and have some fun with it. But while we're doing that, let's take a listen to the sounds and just kind of celebrate exactly what's going on here. Okay. And it keeps popping up. And it's just not going down. I want to do that one more time because, let me see. Okay, if you listen carefully, when you hear that hit, that initial hit, it's a very squishy sound. It's a very like yeah. So when you listen to it, it's a very squishy sound. And that squish sound really kind of coupled together with everything else. The actual thud of the hit, the pipe, and even some of the actual impact itself, it makes it for a really, really gruesome sort of sound design. See, at that tail end. Let's do it again. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love that sound at the end. That tail end just gives your soul just a little tiny tweak on grossness. If we go back here, every time he swings, every time James, the protagonist of the game, every time he swings the pipe, you hear a whoosh, like a swoosh and a thud, which coupled together makes it for a really good impact. Ooh, so right there, actually, I actually miss hitting him, and you can hear a really good whoof. And not to mention, too, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. So in the background, you hear a lot of ambiance. What I'm specifically hearing in the background is almost like distorted water droplets and just ambiance in a room of that that nature. The environment itself is very distorted. If you don't have headphones, I definitely encourage you to listen to this video with headphones on. If you listen and you pay attention, you can really pick out the nuances and kind of guess on what's going on in the background and everything. I almost hear like a crowd or some sort of it's really different. It's almost like I hear some sort of echo of somebody talking in the background. Let's listen to that again. Listen to it again one more time. Hear it right there. Okay. Hear it. Hear that? That's crazy. I never noticed that until right now. Things are always going on in the background, which are very unsettling. And, you know, however Akira Yamaøka created that, it doesn't make too much sense to have that in here, but at the same time, it kind of does. And it's very unsettling. I love it. I love that. That's so cool. Okay, moving on. Let's do another clip. Okay, clip number 2. So this one, there's this really disturbing low end. And as I'm playing through that, I didn't really hear too much into it. But I did want to record it so that we can listen to it together and just kind of go through it and see what's going on. So check this out. And again, wear some headphones while hearing this. Hear that knocking? So that knocking being so huge and echoey, one big thing that I love that he does is making things feel large, making his environments feel large, very huge. And that knocking is a very creative way for it to be just a gigantic big thing, and he didn't want to fill it up with a lot, but just a simple bang of something, and then letting it ring out and letting it marinate in the environment makes it feel really big. And this part in particular, okay, I remember going through this part and just thinking how empty everything was and how big everything was. The space was huge. And not being so cluttered or claustrophobic, I think that's equally as scary and frightening from being in a claustrophobic sort of narrow hallway like in Dead Space. You know, those are very narrow corridors, rather than in Silent Hill. It's very huge and very empty, which gives kind of a meaning of the game. But hearing that knock, hear it again and see what I mean by it just being big. And then letting it play out and letting it fill the room gives you a sense of emptiness and a sense of how big of scale this area is. Fantastic design. I love it. Check out the Foley. The Foley is actually, it's a little loud, which is good because that's kind of the only thing you hear, you're going to hear. It's not subtle. You know, James going through the level itself, he is really the only thing that you will hear in his aspect, in his perspective. The only thing that he's going to hear is just the sway of his material, of his jeans, and of his coat. So let's listen to that one more time. I love that. I love that. The scope and the sense of how much he hears this is just even more isolating than anything else. It being so loud to him and to the player, to the actual person experiencing this, it gives it a sense of loneliness. And that's kind of what this whole level was about. It was so big. Listen to it again. Even then, you can even hear his breath. He can hear his own breath and his clothes and everything, just like the player is hearing that. And that gives such a sense of loneliness. I love it. It's awesome. If you check out this low end that's playing here, that's definitely something that a lot of horror games and horror movies and sound designers love doing, is almost like a drone-like sense of discomfort. And when you're going through a game such as this, you have a lot of that because you don't want to fill it up with music and melody and this and that. You want things to be disjointed and uncomfortable for you. I definitely get a sense of that. I get a sense of discomfort and uneasiness because of that low end. And that is just the palette. That's just the plate that everything else is going to texturize on top of. During that last knock, yeah, you hear that? There's like this real high pitch, but it's very low, a very high pitch behind that knock to give it a little bit more, another layer of texture that you yourself don't really realize you're hearing it as you're playing through the game, but your subconscious knows that it's there and it's very uneasy. Let's listen to another one. Okay, so before this clip, again, if you have headphones, listen to this video with headphones on because you can get a better grasp at listening and figuring these sounds out and just really enduring the sounds themselves. I myself, I have the DT770s, so they are closed back headphones. They're very isolated headphones. One of the best headphones to do when you're doing mixing or active listening like this. So I really encourage you guys to get these sets of headphones for isolated listening. So in this clip, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I knew that something was very interesting here. Oh, that's what it was. So there was a creature, there was something around the area, and it was cooing. That's the only way I can explain it. It was moving and kind of making these weird cooing sort of sounds. Listen very carefully with that, and he was around there somewhere, but I heard him, and I can hear these little cooing or some sort of like moaning or something around that area. And in the proximity, depending on where your character was turning, you can hear it in one singular spot. So I was trying to decipher where he was, and I was trying to gauge where he was. It's very discomforting because you know it's around you and you just don't know where it's at. But if you listen again, listen to that cooing and how creepy it is, just how messed up that thing is, and you can hear how unsettling it is trying to find that. So that mixed with the pulsing beat, that beat that is in the background, that really big echoing beat, kind of gives you a sense of uneasiness and tenseness. So as the player, he's in a very tense situation. This right here in particular was a very tense spot, because not only did I have to crawl through this area right here, but I had to find the enemy, and all the while, there's this beat and this pulse that keeps coming and keeps making sure the situation is tense. And that right there, it builds tension. It builds it up to the point where you, as the player, are starting to get a little anxious. Love that part. Love it. Oh, right there. Did you hear that? Check this out. You are hearing some sort of like squirmish or something along the lines of a little coo or something from the enemy. Fantastic. That was fantastic. Let's listen to that one just one more time, because it was actually really cool. Ooh. That is awesome. I love that. While we're at it, let's take a look at what he does when he picks up the actual ammo here. Check this out. There's just a little tiny shimmer. I think that sweep is a really nice, like an ollie ollie oxen free, like, oh, I grabbed some ammo. Oh, thank God. You know, and you just kind of, it alleviates a lot of that pressure. So the sound design in this is very, very superior when it comes to building tension and then building release. I grab some ammo, cool, you know, and it gives you a sense of like, okay, there are little tiny glimpses and hopes of safety here, but not too much. And that gives it such great dynamic. I think Akira Yamaøka knows when and when not to push that tension and then give you that release. He knows when to implement what it needs, how it affects the player. All right, guys, moving on. Now, this clip right over here, I do remember what was going on. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to record specifically was the bugs, the insects. So if you are a little squeamish towards insects and bugs, you might want to pause the video, fast forward it. But at the same time, there are going to be a lot. So disclaimer now. And maybe a minor spoiler warning. So if you haven't played this part, again, pause the video, come back whenever you do. Let's get into it, because this part's really cool. Okay, let's check this out. Yeah, all those are bugs. Oh, nice. Ah, shit. Okay. Let's break this down just a little bit, because this is really cool, guys. Okay, so let me give you some context. So what I'm doing right here is running from Pyramid Head. All the while, anytime he is near, anytime he is around, there are bugs all over the walls, everywhere. And you know that it's very unsettling, and it is very, very creepy. So the bugs are everywhere, everything's going on all at once, and you're trying to find a way out. If you listen to the bugs, specifically the little all over the walls, I mean, that is such a great sound to have underneath to give tension, to give you the sense of, you better hurry because some evil is about to kill you. All right, here we go. In the headphones, if you have headphones on, again, you can hear them all the way around. And especially where James is at. He's this way, you hear them over here. He's this way, you hear them over here, and then over here, depending on where. Fantastic design on the polarity. Just everywhere you just hear these bugs. Fantastic. It's so good. If we go back just a little bit, check this out. If we go back, there we go. If we go back just a little bit, you hear the footsteps of Pyramid Head, and he's walking towards you. I don't know specifically if he's actually behind me, but it's giving the sense that he is. His footsteps are loud and they are heavy. As he's chasing James, you hear that tension and you feel it. And the only thing that I can do was find these doors, go into these doors and break this wall down because I just had to get away from him. That was really cool. Really, really cool sound design. And while we're at it, okay, so one really cool thing that I did notice about Silent Hill 2 is that James, anytime he grunts, anytime he hits anything, or specifically even the monsters themselves, he lets out different grunts and guttural. He's really feeling every single pound that he puts into it. And they did so many different ones so that you don't get the same, one or two every single time. What I personally like to do in every time that I create sound is I like to create different versions of the same thing just like that, because you never know if the game developer or the producer, if they're going to be wanting different things, different sounds of the different versions of the same sound, and they might even use them on top of each other. They might use them in succession. You never know. It's just good to do different versions of the same thing. All right, let's check this out one more time. Let's go back. Oh, I could do that with my mouse? Dope. Okay. So if you hear it in the background too, especially right here, let's go back just a little bit. It's very subtle. It's very subtle to catch it, but you hear metal scraping. Oh, that is nice. That is really nice. Let's go back just a little bit, actually. Hear that? It's like scraping or it's bending or something, but it's metal on metal. Oh, it gives such an uneasy feel, and that is so, so good. Ah, and there he is in all his glory. When you feel his tension, you feel his anger towards you just by standing there, and he's looking at you through these bars, and I felt that. I felt the anger and the hate that he had. So, oof. Hear the bugs. So if you listen, it almost sounds like something is playing backwards. And that is a really good technique to do in horror movies and in horror video games. Because in this genre, we're always trying to find logic in things, and especially when we're scared. When we're scared, we're always trying to find a way out. We're always trying to find a reason why. We're always trying to find some sort of logic. When something is coming at you with no logic or that doesn't make sense, it going in reverse and just making just a weird, different textural sound, it gives a sense of uneasiness and tension, and you almost feel you feel like you just can't grasp any sort of logic or anything. So that is really cool. But let's listen to it one more time and let's check this out. It's like a pulsing. It's a very pulsing sort of sound. And it comes up again. Oh, so cool. So cool. Okay, moving on. Let's go into another one. That is great. I love it. Love it. This is the last clip, but again, if you like these type of videos where we go through sound design, definitely leave a comment down below. Let me know how much you like this. Give the video a like and a subscribe so we can keep doing videos like this. All right, let's dive into it and check this out. Okay, the first clip that I found. This is what got this whole thing started. When I was playing the game, I said, wait, that sounds almost as someone's just breathing into your microphone. You know, and they're just making this discomforting sound. And in this part in particular, it was kind of narrow, so narrow hallways, and it almost sounded like it was right here. Oh, it sounded so nice. Well, it sounded bad, but you know, nice as a designer. Let's listen to that again and see if you know what I'm talking about, but you can hear it. I don't know if that's like any of these sounds. I don't know if this is how they were made or anything, or if this is what it actually is. But if you think about it, these are just very creative ways to really give the sense of this environment and this world a different layer of fear, another layer of fear. So let's check it out one more time. Hear that? Yo, okay. That's cool. That is super cool. That's really, really rad. And one thing I've actually noticed through these clips is that there's always some sort of a pulse. There's always some sort of a beat because, you know, when you do a lot of horror genre sound design and music and things like that, you never want to have things in, for a lack of a better word, systematically 4/4, or you know, something where the player knows it's coming back again. But if you did it in a creative way like this, it's very unsettling. I always did a lot of my sound design, especially in horror genre, where, you know, things you just couldn't grasp onto, measures, music, melodies even, or things, you know, you couldn't anchor anything down. You know, if you were at a save point or something like that, sure, but during, you know, a tense level like this, it's very hard to discern, like, you know, what measure are we in? What beat are we in? What's that sound? I know that's coming up. So what I'm trying to say is it's really cool that Akira Yamaøka and the designers really give you a pulse, but it's an unsettling pulse. It's a very, very discomforting pulse. And I've noticed a lot of that in the design and in the flow of the game. Coupled with what I think there's some like ticks or some sort of clinging that's very uneven over here, and then you hear almost like another metal or something else going on over here. That's almost like an alarm. That's definitely almost like an alarm or something that's going on in the background. I'm hearing it over here, and then I'm hearing some clicks and ticks over here. All the way there's that sort of pulsing here. Ooh, this is nice. You know, and there's some more noise going on over here, some more, not static, but more like filler over here, which, you know, it's very textural. All this is very textural, almost to the point where you can feel it on your skin. Oh, hear that alarm? Oh, that sound is so unsettling. I just freaking love that. All right, guys. So what did you think? Did you guys like this? Did you guys like the way that Akira Yamaøka actually creates his sound design? Anything to add? Please add in the comments. Speaking of the sound design here, he just has such a creative take. that that's what this series needs. And that's why he's one of those superstars amongst designers, is because he comes at it in such a creative way. I love that. And, you know, he's a very huge inspiration, not only in the music genre, but in sound design as well. I really do encourage all of you guys to listen to a lot of his work. Even if you're playing the game, take a pause, listen, especially to you designers out there, and even the game developers out there. Listen to how he does things, because that is going to, in part, give you a sense of how genre should sound. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jøin Rhyan, otherwise known as Sector 7. Thank you for joining me in my channel, Sector 7 Music. And if you do like what I'm doing here, please like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you love Akira Yamaøka's work, go to sector7music.com. There you can check out a lot of my work that I have done, and you can check out a lot of my asset packs that I have up for sale for all of you game developers and for anybody who's doing a project out there. There's always music that you can need and use. I also have another asset pack coming out in December. It's the Cute and Cozy asset pack. I know it's far from the video that we're watching today, but I decided to do a cute and cozy, something that you would find in an Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or everything in between. Next year, I am changing things up. I want to branch out more and do a little bit more of everything. So look for another video explaining more on that, so stay tuned. Until next time, guys, thank you so much again, every single one of you. It means the world to me. See you later.